What's going on, Colts fans? I'm Lawrence Owen here with Colts Law again this weekend with the live stream, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be here every Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, in order to bring live coverage, answer questions, react to comments in the live chat, things of that nature. And I am going to walk in every time with a subject that I want to talk about. This week, I am looking to actually talk about what the Indianapolis Colts are going to look like this year offensively. You know, where they're going to rank offensively compared to the other teams in the NFL. What individual stats are going to look like. The health of the offensive line, whether or not that's going to repeat again. Offense. And feel free, if you think that I might be a little off somewhere, throw a comment in there. Let me know. Don't forget, please also hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That way you're notified when I go live every week. If I get enough subs, maybe I'll go more than once a week. And then, of course, whenever I get a new upload going. So let's start what we're here to talk about, shall we? Wow. What an offseason, first and foremost. My goodness. I haven't seen an offseason like this for the Indianapolis Colts in such a long time. They very high on the first Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr. Great pickups on the offense. And then Phillip Rivers, right? Dear Lord. We got Desmond Patton in there as well. Picked up. We have people to go with what we already had offensively. So what are we looking at? What are we looking at right now? Well, let's start off with the offensive line, all right? Because that's where every offense starts off with, that offensive line. It's undeniable that they're a top 5 unit in the NFL. There are many analysts out there who will say that the Colts are top 3, maybe even better than top 3. I don't know. I personally would like to think that they're top number 1, right? I mean, they're the best. I mean, come on. Anthony Castonzo last season, PFF ranked Anthony Castonzo in the top 10. They ranked Nelson number 1 guard in the NFL. Ryan Kelly, again, top 10. Braden Smith, again, top 10. Mark Glowinski. Okay, so Glowinski might be the weak link in pass protection, but he is an absolute dominant road blocking type of offensive lineman. That right guard can legitimately move some people, right? I mean, move a lot of people around. Doesn't matter if they're defensive tackles, linebackers, don't matter who they are. He can pick them up, move them, and create space, especially when he knows there's someone coming around the corner like Quenton Nelson. Think about this, all right? There is a reason that the Colts averaged 7 yards a carry last year running behind Mark Glowinski and Braden Smith. The boys can really block, and they like to pull guys that way as well, right? Ryan Kelly likes to pull that way. You see Quenton Nelson all the time. I mean, tons of highlights of him pulling to the right. When they run right, they average high numbers. Now, they're the only offensive line in the NFL last year that every one of those guys started all 16 games. Applause. Because that was the healthiest group of people on the Colts, position group wise, on Indy. Every other position group had guys that missed due to injuries, missed starts and stuff. And some positions were a lot worse than others. Defensive backs, wide receivers. Those two positions in particular were hurt really, really bad last year. Can we expect the same this year? No. I don't expect. I expect somebody on this offensive line to probably get hurt. God forbid it. I don't want to see it happen. But I think as long as it's not like long-term injury, as long as it's not like a season-ending injury, if somebody gets like something wrong with their neck or a tweaked ankle or a knee or something like that happens. You've seen Ryan Kelly miss a game or two because of something like, neck injury. Sometimes someone might roll or something. Absolutely. That's exactly how I feel, William McGee. He says, if your worst offensive lineman is considered average, you're in a good spot. And I feel that way as well. I think our backups, we got a couple backups that I consider to be average, right? We just picked up Pinter in the draft. I think once he gets in and acclimated to the offensive line, he'll be a good rotational piece for the guards. I think he's also one of those guys Pinter is one of those guys I believe that could come in on the offensive line, especially like 3rd and inches or goal line situations as that eligible or 6th offensive lineman on that line. He could actually get a little bit of playing time doing that, especially if the offensive line, again, continues to do what they've been doing, and that is stay healthy. Now, from the offensive line, we go to where that football moves next, right? The quarterback. Yes, the Colts still have Ryan Kelly. I just wanted to get that in there because I just got done reading on Twitter about some guys talking about how they wish that Ryan Kelly would get out there and get some starts and wish he would have started last year. I get that. I think Kelly should have got a few snaps at the end of the season last year. I don't think it would have mattered whether he had or not overall for the Colts. But at the same time, I don't expect Kelly to make this team this season, especially considering the Colts put forth a lot of, 4th round pick. There's other 4th round picks out there that were pretty darn good, that came out into the NFL. Where was Russell Wilson picked? Where was Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott was a 4th round draft pick, right? Yeah. I'll tell you what. I've got that film room on Jacob Eason. I think he has the most talented arm in this past NFL draft. When he's sitting in the pocket and his feet are set, and he's able to go through his entire throwing motion. Absolute brilliant quarterback. He's got a lot to learn still on leading a team, things of that nature, acclimating himself to the NFL, and also throwing while on the move because his accuracy drops so much when he's on the move. Next guy we got up, I don't think he'll get any snaps this year, though, at all. Next guy we got up is Jacoby Brissett, the starter from last year after poor Andrew Luck retired 2 weeks before the season started last year. That sucks. Believe it or not, Jacoby Brissett actually started off pretty decent. Yeah, okay, Wilson was a 3rd rounder. All right. I figured Dak was 4th. I was pretty sure Dak was 4th. I knew Wilson was 3rd or 4th. Brissett actually, he had like a 61 completion percentage, right? He only threw 6 interceptions. His problem was his yards per attempt was 6.6, and he only threw 18 touchdowns. Now, 3,000 yards, and he only played 14 and a half games, right? 14 and a half games, 3,000 yards. So if you'd have figured the other game and a half, he would have probably ended up around 3,300. Still a little bit on the low end, but you got to figure he was a safe quarterback, which is kind of odd because in 2017, he was known for being able to throw pretty long, deep, accurate throws. But he seemed to be very afraid to do that, especially with last season. I don't understand. He knew that Andrew Luck was there in 2017. Maybe that had something to do with it. Also, you got to remember he was hurt in the Pittsburgh game. He didn't look the same at all after the Pittsburgh game. Before that Pittsburgh game, he had moments where he shined. When he was caught dead to rights in the end zone by Von Miller in Denver, against Denver, right? And he slipped out of that for sure safety. rolled out to his right and hit T.Y. Hilton on a deep first down right along the sideline. Whew, that's top 10 annual NFL highlight reel stuff. But after he got hurt, man, you didn't see that anymore. It seemed like he was afraid to play. Yes, before that happened, though, he did have a lot of times where he seemed to do a lot of dinking and dunking, right? I get that. He also has issues. In my film room, I noticed that he doesn't lead a receiver very well. He doesn't lead receivers. He'll throw the ball basically where they're at, and you'll end up seeing him have to catch it like in their body or right behind them a little bit sometimes. He doesn't have a good accuracy when it hits to really fast guys on the move, leading them out in front of them so they can catch and run, which is a big deal, especially when you got guys on your team like T.Y. Hilton, Campbell. Even Pittman's got some speed to him, right? So what Indianapolis did, they went out and got Phillip Rivers. And everybody wants to say, oh, but Phillip Rivers, he's at the end of his career, right? I mean, he threw 20 interceptions last year. Have you guys ever noticed what happens when he throws 18 or more interceptions in a season? Last time, he threw 21 interceptions back in 2016. The next year, he threw 4,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, made the Pro Bowl, 10 picks. In 2014, he had 18 interceptions. The following year, he had 4,800 yards, 29 touchdowns, 13 picks. In 2011, he had 20 interceptions. The following year, he dropped that a little bit to like 15, but it was still less. I mean, this is what he does. If he has a high interception time, he ends up doing really good the year after that. He had 15 the year after 20, and then the year after that he had 11 back in 2013, where in which he made the Pro Bowl and threw for 4,500 yards, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's what Phillip Rivers does. He'll have a bad game, and then the following year he ends up having a Pro Bowl season. Now imagine this is the following year of 20 interceptions going to a team where he doesn't have to worry about much. All he's got to do is just play it safe, basically. He's got a heck of a 1-2 punch in the running game. Actually, he's got a 1-2-3-4 punch in the running game. We'll talk about that in a minute. He's got the best offensive line he's ever had. Yeah, that's probably pretty close to that, actually. And we also got to remember, man, our passing game sucked, William. Our passing game, Hoyer, I am so glad Hoyer's not on the team no more. I don't know what were we thinking? Thinking, well, Hoyer wasn't he could be a good backup to Brissett. He comes in that Pittsburgh game and just loses the game. I mean, the Colts were winning that game against Pittsburgh until Brissett got hurt, right? They were winning that game. They had complete control of that game. And then Hoyer comes in, and it just went ugly from there on. Then he goes into Miami, and we lose to Miami because of Hoyer. Because Hoyer does not know how to take care of a football. At least that's something that you can say about Brissett is he took care of the football, right? Phillip Rivers is not gun shy like Brissett was last season. If he sees someone deep, he'll hit him. And there's one thing that he does do well, and that's lead people. He leads receivers very well. He can anticipate. I mean, he's been in the league forever. Forever and ever and ever. He hasn't missed a game since 2006. All right? 14 years he hasn't missed a game. There's a reason for that. He's a darn good quarterback. Right? Now, what am I expecting at quarterback stat-wise? Now, last year, the Indianapolis Colts had about almost 3,400 yards passing. 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's between Brissett and Hoyer. I don't expect Rivers to miss a game. I don't expect it because, like I said, he hasn't missed a game in 14 seasons, right? Why start now, especially when he's got the best running game and offensive line he's ever had? So, what Rivers does do well is he throws it well. He hasn't thrown under 4,000 yards since 2007. He hasn't thrown under 4,000 yards since 2007. His career average is like right around 4,300. Actually, I think it's like 4,400. I mean, good Lord. Are we going to expect 4,400 yards from Rivers? Are we going to expect an average of about 30 touchdowns, which is about what he averages per year? No. I don't expect 4,400 yards from Rivers. Just for the simple fact that I think the Colts are a run-first team. They are a very good run-first team with the guys they got behind him. So I could see him throwing right at 41, maybe 40. I think he'll break 4,000 yards because he hasn't done that. You know, he hasn't thrown under 4,000 in forever and a day. But he's not going to get 44, 45, 4,600 like you've seen him do in the past because the Colts are going to run the ball a lot. You know, and yes, Rivers likes to throw the football, but this is still Frank Reich's offense. Frank Reich loves to run the football. They still have the damn hats, right? Run the damn ball. Rivers is going to have to deal with the whole, Andrew Luck. You'd think he wants to run the football all the time? Hell no. But in 2018, he followed in the footsteps. Run the damn ball. So that he handed it off a lot. Threw when he needed to. If Rivers wants to win games, if Rivers wants to get to the playoffs, if Rivers wants to finally get himself a Super Bowl ring, he's going to have to acclimate to handing the football off and running the damn ball. I think he'll do that. Especially considering his age. I think handing the ball off means he'll have to throw it less. Throwing it less means that it will save his arm for the playoffs or later in the season when it actually will help him, when he may need to throw the football, when he might need to put the team on his back and carry this team to a victory. And Phillip Rivers is that kind of quarterback that can do that. He's done that. He's tried. Why do you think he had 20 interceptions last year? Because his offense and defense sucked so bad around him on the Chargers that he was down by 2 scores most of the time in the fourth quarter, and he was trying his darndest to throw that football downfield, to try to do catch-ups. He won't be in those kind of situations. The Colts only lost by more than one touchdown one time last year, and that was against the snoozer, against the New Orleans Saints. I think we all remember that. We'd like to forget about it. Kind of reminded us a little bit about that Super Bowl with Peyton Manning and the Saints. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. It's not something I want to relive over and over and over, but that's just that one game that we lost by more than a score. So Rivers, yeah, I could see him throwing 4,200 yards, probably 25, somewhere between 25 and 30 touchdowns, and maybe 12 or 13 interceptions at the most. I don't think he'll throw as many interceptions this year because like I said, he won't have to be throwing it deep very often. He could actually throw under 10 interceptions this year because he won't have to take those big chances anymore. Now, will the opportunities be there? Absolutely. When you got guys like Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman Jr., and T.Y. Hilton, there will be opportunities downfield when he steps back to pass. And if they're open, you darn well think he is going to take those shots. Kelvin Beatty, thanks for joining the stream, man. What's going on? Over on Sportscaster, I want to say hi to Joe486, Rosie Baseball Love, and Kai Kai. Thanks for joining the stream over on Sportscaster as well. If you like the stream, please hit that like button. Give me a follow if you're on Sportscaster, if you're on YouTube. Please hit that like button. Subscribe. Appreciate it. Absolutely. We just finished talking about Phillip Rivers and what our expectations of Phillip Rivers was for this year. and my expectations are around 4,200 yards. I think he'll complete about 65% of his passes. I figure somewhere between 25 and 30 touchdowns. And he very legitimately could throw under 10 interceptions. And I think that because he won't have to force the football downfield nearly as much as what he's had to with the Chargers, because he won't be down so much, right? He's got a team around him that can lift him up. Let's get back to the next situation. The passing game. I don't know, because you got to remember, Kelvin, you got to remember this is still a run first team. Do you think in 2018 Andrew Luck wanted to run the ball all the time? Hell no. Like I said earlier. Hell no, he didn't want to run the damn ball all the time. But he did. He did so because that was the identity of this offense. And this offense today is running the football. It is a power run scheme team. And I think Rivers will be more than happy to hand the football off as long as he's winning. When he's winning and the Colts are right there, he'll be more than happy to hand that football off over and over and over and only step back once in a while, because it will save his arm. It'll save his arm for later in the season and in the postseason, and getting possibly getting to a Super Bowl. But that's still Andrew Luck too. And you got to remember, this is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is 10 years older than what Luck was. Right? And you also, we didn't have Jonathan Taylor on this stinking team to go with Marlon, Mack, Nyheim, Hines, and Wilkins, right? We got the best running stable in the NFL. It would be an absolute shame not to use it. Just my opinion. Let's look at those wide receivers, shall we? I got them back here behind me. We got T.Y. Hilton. I'm only going with the top four, in my opinion. T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman Jr., Zach Pascal. I want to start off with Zach Pascal first. I want to congratulate Zach Pascal for stepping up last season when the top three wide receivers were hurt for the majority of the season. When T.Y. Hilton was hurt for all those games. When Paris Campbell was hurt for all those games. When Devin Funchess went out week 1, almost like the first snap of the year, he went out. Zach Pascal came up and became a very good go-to outside receiver. On top of the fact that he's such a really good run blocker as a wide receiver. I can't believe it. So I think Pascal will still get a lot of snaps this year, even though I think he's definitely fourth on the depth chart in wide receiver, and I don't think the Colts will go 4 and 5 wide very often. Not with the running game that they've got. But when they are in definite run mode, you'll see Zach Pascal on the field over other certain players because of how good he can run block. Him and Michael Pittman Jr. are two very good run blocking wide receivers. I showed that Michael Pittman when I did his film breakdown. I don't know if I highlighted that or not, but I did see it when I broke his film down. Pittman can run block. Hey, that's awesome, Nomadic Brian. That's cool. So I don't see Zach Pascal having the season that he had last year. Let's see. Last year he was targeted 72 times, had 41 catches, 607 yards, and 5 tugs. Right? I don't see him targeted nearly that much. Not even close. I can see him getting targeted 35 or 40 times. Because, like I said, he will be mostly used as a blocking wide receiver. But he'll still get some targets out there because he's proven himself to be a good wide receiver. It sucks that he had such a good season last year and he's going to have to take a step back this year. But that's just the nature of the NFL, and it sucks. But the Colts ain't going to let him go. They're not going to let him go because he's just that good of a run blocker and he's just that dependable as a wide receiver, right? So I don't see them letting him go at all. I could see him getting probably, like I said, 40 targets. Probably catch about 30 of those targets. That'll give him 75%. That's a lot better. That's a catch percentage of 75%. You know, so he'll get over 300 yards receiving. That'll give him, you know, yards of at least 10 yards per target. He'll do well. He'll do well. Let's step up to Paris Campbell. Let's step up to Paris Campbell, my guys. Oh, yeah, he did. He definitely earned his roster spot. Absolutely. Yeah, that's true too, McGee. He could keep that touchdown numbers just because he's shown that he can fight that 50-50. When you're in the red zone, he could be a targeted guy. Him and Michael Pittman Jr. could be those two guys in the red zone. Let's talk about Paris Campbell. This could be Paris Campbell's breakout year if he can stay healthy. You're going to hear this a lot between Paris Campbell and T.Y. Hilton. Health is a big deal. Paris Campbell showed last year when the couple games that he played when he was healthy, he can take a really good short route, like a drag route, a crossing pattern, a quick out, something like that, and something that allows him to get open with his speed. And if you can hit him in stride on a drag route, he could take that football and go places with it. I can see Paris Campbell having more targets than Zach Pascal if he stays healthy. Only because the fact he's 6 foot tall and he's got 4.3 speed. He's fast. And, man, I think if he could just stay healthy, I think he might be one of Rivers' favorite targets because he loves hitting guys over the middle. Now, generally, those are tight ends or running backs that, you know, slipped out of the backfield. That's what Rivers was targeting a lot last year. But Campbell's that guy. Campbell's a receiver that can do that. And he's got the speed to make some serious things happen after the catch. So you could see him get 50 targets, maybe 60 targets, maybe even more than that. But I think his yards after catch is going to be outstanding. Last season he only had 24 targets, 18 catches. That's a 75% catch percentage. Yeah. 127 yards. 1 touchdown. That touchdown that he had, though, was a beaut, right? I mean, he used his speed on a little out route. Caught the ball heading towards the back end of the end zone. That was beautiful. If Paris Campbell could stay healthy, I could seriously see him somewhere around the 600-yard mark. I could see him having the kind of season that Zach Pascal had last year, right? 600 yards, upwards around 70 targets, you know, maybe 5 tugs. I could see that for Paris. But I don't see Paris getting the touchdowns because of red zone targets. I see Paris Campbell getting those because of he just broke open a big play and went the distance, right? That's what I see. That's what I see. We obviously don't have Mahomes caliber quarterback. I can see Paris having a, yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. McCole Hardman type impact. Absolutely. Absolutely. I could see that. Let's see if there's any questions on Sportscaster. Nope. All right. Still got my people there watching though. Let's look at Michael Pittman Jr. Chris Coulter showed flashes last year. Pretty exciting. Yes, I agree. If he could just stay healthy. I mean, this is basically like his rookie year for Paris Campbell, right? Because he was injured so much last year. He really didn't get to learn a whole lot and produce much. So this year is kind of like a rookie year with an extended training camp, we'll call last year an extension of this year's training camp. How about that? Because of his injuries. Michael Pittman Jr. I don't know if you guys, all of you follow me, who's here sitting here watching this live right now, but I did that film room on Michael Pittman Jr. If you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. All right, go to my film room breakdowns and go back and check that out. Michael Pittman Jr. is a monster. This kid's got decent speed, 4.4, all right? So he can break out when needed. He has amazing body control when it comes to going up and catching a football. He plays football like he's rebounding in basketball, okay? When he goes up for a 50-50 ball, he knows how to use his body to block out a defender and catch the ball at its high point, just like playing basketball trying to get a rebound. You're going to have to pause for just a moment. I have an ant in here on my camera. Give me a second, please. Well, I hope I got him. I hope I got him. I couldn't find him anymore after I got up. I think he's hidden underneath. That was weird. Michael Pittman is going to be Phillip Rivers' favorite target, I think. You know how Rivers loves his big, tall, wide receivers that can go up and catch 50-50 balls? Because that's what he did a lot in the Chargers, because that's what he had to do in the fourth quarters, have to throw those prayer balls to try to move the football downfield. Michael Pittman is one of those guys that is just prime for doing stuff like that. So if you ever see a point in this season where the Colts are down 10 points in the fourth quarter, put your money on Michael Pittman Jr. Because I will almost guarantee that's where Phillip Rivers will be going. Nope, I didn't get him. There he is. Got him that time. Pardon me, gents. It was a big black ant. I don't know what that... You guys having issues with ants where you're at? I got carpenter ants for some reason. I need to get rid of them. I need to spray my house. So, when it comes to Pittman, I could see him... I mean... Does he have a chance to be Offensive Rookie of the Year? If he was not on the Colts, I'd say yes. But because the Indianapolis Colts is such a run-heavy team, he's not going to be the primary wide receiver because T.Y. Hilton will still be that as long as T.Y. Hilton's healthy. And the Colts are so deep at running back. And I fully expect the Colts to be at least 55-45 when it comes to run, if not 60-40 this year. So I don't think Michael Pittman's going to get enough targets to be Rookie of the Year. But I absolutely do think that he's going to end up doing well enough. I could see him getting probably 80 targets and catching 60 of them. Right? He's going to have a good catch percentage. And if you looked at what he did yards per catch wise last year, it was nasty. Absolutely nasty. I could see him getting probably close to 700 yards. Probably around 8 touchdowns. I could see close to 8 touchdowns for Campbell. Or for Pittman. Because I think he'll be that target guy. I really, really do. Now, we got to remember, I think Pittman could at 8 touchdowns. I think he'll lead the team in touchdowns for receivers. I don't think he'll lead the league, the team in touchdowns overall. I think a running back, one of the running backs will. But Pittman will lead the receivers, I believe. So I could see him getting 700 yards off 60 catches, 8 touchdowns. That seems reasonable. That's pretty darn good for a rookie wide receiver. Let's move on to T.Y. Hilton. The last couple of years, T.Y. Hilton's had some injury problems. In 2018, he had a high and low ankle sprain, which pretty much nullified him for a few games. He went out there and played, but you could definitely tell that it was bothering him too much. He was just a token receiver while out there playing those games, against Kansas City, against Houston. He was just a token receiver because of his ankle. Last year, he had thigh and calf and ankle injuries that he had to deal with. He missed, I think, 7 games. So he's having injury issues still. Now, this could be the simple fact. I mean, he's a small receiver, right? He's a small receiver, and if he does get hit, it's going to hurt him. Now, the good thing about T.Y. is he is fantastic at saving himself after the catch. He catches that football, he'll go out of bounds. He'll throw himself on the ground right in front of a tackler, And you're right, Brian. You are right. He won't be overused this year. He's not the only target this year that the quarterback for the Colts has to throw to. He's been the guy ever since he's came to the Colts after Reggie Wayne left. He's been the guy. He don't have to worry about that no more. He's got help now. Do I think T.Y. has 1,000 yards receiving? I don't know. T.Y. is the hardest one to put your hand on, put a finger on, just because of his injury history. His injuries the last few years. That's why it's so hard to put a finger on him right now. If he stays healthy, it's quite possible he gets 1,000 yards. If he misses 2 or 3 games, probably not. Probably not, because like I already said, Zach Pascal and Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman Jr. are going to get theirs as well, right? They're going to get some targets too. Nyheim Hines, he'll get some targets on 3rd down. So I don't think T.Y. Hilton gets 1,000 yards. Because I think he'll miss probably 2 or 3 games due to an injury. Probably ankle, calf, maybe hamstring. Something will happen. I don't expect him to miss as much as he did last year. But I think something will probably happen. He'll still probably get about 900 yards, though. I think he'll probably have about 4 or 5 touchdowns. But that's still pretty good. Yes, it's not Yes, the scary thing is the Colts, what I just said, the Colts aren't going to have a 1,000-yard receiver. We got depth at receiver right now. Something we have not had. In years, we have not had. And it's going to be great because, like I said, Phillips not going to have to throw the ball as much because he's going to run the football. I'm going to say he's going to get 4,200 yards or right around abouts. At least that's what I think. Thanks for the likes, guys. Don't forget to hit that don't forget to hit the subscribe so that you're notified next time I go live. Don't forget, check out the description at the bottom of the description. There's places where you could help me out by donating to my channel. I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet, so I can't do the super chat until I get 1,000 subscribers. Any donations have to be done through StreamYard. So that's what I got with T.Y. I figure T.Y. will probably get about 900 yards and about 4 or 5 touchdowns. He's still going to be incredibly helpful. I think a lot going to depend on Pittman and Campbell and others. Yeah, I think T.Y. can flourish with a lot of the attention off him. Honestly, I think the passing game should flourish very well because teams are going to want to put 7 or 8 guys in the box to stop this run. Right? I think that's the fun thing about this team. Frank Reich's going to have to adjust per game. There's going to be games where teams are going to have to force the Colts. They're going to load the box and make the Colts beat them through the air. Then there's going to be games where you're going to see that Rivers and the wide receivers and tight ends and running backs can do that through the air. And then the next game or later on in that same game, they're going to back off and leave the run game open again. So Reich's just going to have to play coach like he's supposed to. Read how the game is going and call the plays that are needed to be called. Because if he does it right, if this team is healthy and Rivers does what I think he can do, I think the Colts could have a top 5 offense in the NFL. That is my opinion. Rivers is an accurate quarterback. Rivers still has an arm on him. Does he have a super rocket arm? No. No one in their 15 plus years in the NFL has got a rocket arm on him. Tom Brady's got the same limp noodle that Peyton Manning had 2 years before he retired. You know? And I know this because I did a film room on him too. But, hey, I need something to drink. My throat is dry. Whew, pardon me. But the wide receiver group can definitely do something here. But I think it's the running game that's going to be dangerous. I mean, super dangerous. We've already talked about them. Let's talk about the tight ends. Because they're kind of in the middle, right? They're kind of in the middle of the passing game and the running game. Because they're either blocking for the running game, or they're going out for a pass, or they're protecting against the pass. So we got 3 tight ends. 3. The biggest question is the new guy, Trey Burton, right? That came from Chicago, didn't do jack in Chicago because of injuries. But he was in Philadelphia and was part of the Philadelphia special that won them the Super Bowl. Trey is supposed to take over the position that Eric Ebron left midway through last season. No, I did not say near the end when he went to IR. I mean midway when he gave up on the Colts. All right, because that's exactly what happened. Hey, does anyone have a face mask with Eric Ebron on the front of it? I want one of those. That way I don't catch anything either. Sorry. I had to put that out there. I thought that was kind of funny. I thought about that yesterday. I thought, man, that'd be a great face mask to have. So let's see here. Obviously, we're going to start managing Rivers. Exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. You know, he just manage him, right? Let him be a game manager. Let Rivers be a game manager. Kind of similar to what way, you know, Ryan Tannehill was for the Titans. Only I think you got more of a gunslinger in Rivers when you need him than what you would have with Ryan Tannehill, right? So, absolutely. Let's start with Jack Doyle. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but at the end of last season, Jack Doyle was extended. 3 years, a little over $21 million. I think it was like $11 million guaranteed. Deserves every stinking dime of it. Good for Jack Doyle. One of the best sure-handed receivers the Colts have. The kid is the security blanket of the quarterback. He is a great run blocker. He's a really good pass blocker. And he's so good at getting out there in a dead spot when a team is playing zone or after other teams take off, and he can run out there real quick in a flat or something, get open so that the quarterback could dump the ball off to him real quick if he's getting a little bit of pressure on him. So I think that is something that Doyle, I think Doyle's going to have the same year he always has, year after year after year. I mean, the kid, Doyle makes Pro Bowls, right? That's what he does. He made Pro Bowl last year. He had 43 catches, 448 yards, averaged about 10 and a half yards of reception and 4 touchdowns. I could see about the same for him this year. I could see about the same. I don't see much of a change. It might get 10 more targets than what he had last year because, to be fair, Phillip Rivers is just like Andrew Luck in the aspect that he loves his tight ends. He loves throwing the tight ends. Andrew Luck loved Jack Doyle. He loved throwing to Allen and what's his name? The guy from Stanford that came with him. I don't even think he's in the NFL anymore. You know, he loved throwing his tight ends. Ebron. Hell, he made Ebron look like a Superman. I mean, come on. But Phillip Rivers the same way. Phillip Rivers loves his tight ends. So he could see more targets this year than what he did last year. I could see him getting about 500 yards. I could see him getting 5 or 6 touchdowns. I can't put money on Trey Burton. Because last year he wasn't all that impressive. Granted, he was hurt. The year before that, when in the Super Bowl, he made his name being from the Philly special when he threw the football for a touchdown to Carson Wentz. Kobe Fleener, thanks McGee, appreciate that. I can't believe I forgot his name. It's been so long since I talked about him, it just escaped me. I don't think Trey Burton is going to be on the field nearly as much as Jack Doyle. I think he'll probably be on the field about as much as what you saw Eric Ebron on the field as. Because he's not a blocking tight end either. He is that receiving type tight end, just like, those other guys, just like Kobe Fleener was, just like Eric Ebron was. He's a receiving guy. So I don't see him being on the field as much because Jack's just more of a complete tight end. Does he have the athleticism that Trey Burton has? No. Will Trey Burton get some plays and some catches, opportunities? Yes. I don't think that he's going to get as many opportunities as what a lot of people might believe he will. I think he'll probably get about 400 yards receiving and probably 2 or 3 touchdowns himself. I don't see him having an Eric Ebron 2018 season. I don't see no damn 15 touchdowns for him. And if you do, there's something wrong. Okay? Don't look at somebody who was somebody else's trash that was somebody else's trash and then think, well, they're going to be super great. There's a reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers got rid of Roosevelt Nix, by the way, and I'll explain that later. And then last, but definitely not least, we got Mo Alley-Cox. You're going to see more of Mo Alley-Cox this year. His main assets is athleticism. Trey Burton's. Like I said, he's a lot like Eric Ebron. He's not as strong as Eric Ebron. He's not as athletic as Eric Ebron, but he's got good hands. Okay, he does have good hands. I'll give him that. But Trey Burton was a lot like Kobe Fleener was. A lot like Kobe Fleener. Okay. Mo Alley-Cox. I expect this to be not necessarily his breakout year, but I think you're going to see a lot more out of him this year than what you have in the past. Let's look and see what he had last year. Allie Cox, he was only targeted 11 times, eight catches. He had a 73% catch rate percentage, almost 100 yards on 8 catches, 11.5 yards per reception. He'll get more targets than that this year. He'll get at least 25, I think. He's a big target out there. He's athletic. You've seen what he can do. I think that he is vastly underused on this offense, and I think they need to use him a lot more. He's a very solid run blocker. I think him and Doyle should be your 1-2 punch, not Doyle and Burton. I think they just picked up Burton because they needed someone to fill the spot that Eric Ebron had. But I really like Mo Alley Cox. If you guys like Mo Alley Cox, let me know. But I think Mo Alley Cox is awesome. Is it possible that Mo Alley Cox has a bigger year than what I'm expecting? Yes. Because like we said, Rivers loves his tight ends. Cox is a big target, man. He's the biggest guy on the field. So, we'll see. We'll see. Man, my throat is sore as shit. I've been talking a lot. And I still got 4 guys to get through, right? Let's get back to where I believe is the strength of this team. All right? And we have a shot at having Rookie of the Year in this group. And that's saying something because I think Marlon Mack's still going to have a heck of a season this year. First off, I want everyone to remember and don't forget Jordan Wilkins on this team. He is still on this team. He will be on this team when the 53 is named. There's a reason why he is going to be. The kid averages 5.8 yards a carry for his NFL career. He leads all NFL running backs with at least 50 carries every season in yards per carry. There's a reason he does not get many touches. There's a reason they only give him about 50 to 55 touches a season. And that's because early in his career, early in his rookie year, he dropped that ball twice in 2 games on the ground. Dropped it twice in 2 games. His carries disappeared. That's what you expect. If you turn the football over, you're not getting the football. You're not going to get the touches that you think you should have. But Wilkins is a fantastic runner. He is very smooth and deceptively elusive in the hole, right? When he's going through that hole, he is such a good... It does. Once you lose confidence, it takes a while to get it back from, especially your coaching staff. And remember what I said about why Wilkins lost his carries, because that's going to come into effect later. Wilkins is not a big, flashy move type guy. He's not that kind of guy who's going to make this massive sidestep cut or this sweet juke move or a double spin move with 3 stiff arms to get down to the end zone, you know, like Marlon Mack or Nyheim Hines. Jordan Wilkins, that guy who keeps that ball, runs high. You ever notice how similar Jordan Wilkins runs? Go look at Eric Dickerson highlights. He runs so similar to the way Eric Dickerson did. He just barely shifts his body. He stands upright when he runs. He's not tucked over like you see most running backs. He's an upright runner. And he just slight shifts in his moves right at the right time, at the right moment, and makes guys just kind of skip off of him. They can't get a good hand on him. He just runs right through their arm tackles. That's what Wilkins does. That's why he does so good, because he hits the hole, knows where he's going, and he goes with it. And because he hits that hole so fast and knows what he's doing, that's why a lot of times you look up and you're seeing Jordan Wilkins taking off on a 25, 30-yard run. Because he hits it like that. Let's talk about Nyheim Hines. Oh, Jordan Wilkins will still get his 50 to 60 carries this year. I don't think he's going to get 6 yards a carry. I think he'll still average around 5, though. He'll probably have 2 touchdowns to his name. All right. So expect 300 yards out of Wilkins. Nyheim Hines, the Swiss Army knife of the Indianapolis Colts. If you think Nyheim Hines should take punt returns from here on out, every punt return ever, say so in the chat, hit the like button, because that's what I think. Nyheim Hines should be our full-time return guy, period. End of story. He's not going to be a starting running back. We got too much depth at starting running back. He will be the third string running. He'll be that third down, third and long type running back who will come in and be that extra weapon for the quarterback that'll come out of the backfield. You can dump it off to him, do some run back screens and stuff like that. I love me some Nyheim Hines. He's not a power back. He's not one of those running backs that you want running the ball up the gut all the time on a consistent basis. There's just no way. He's not built that way, right? But that don't mean that man can't contribute, because he can contribute like something nobody's business. 2 punt return touchdowns per touchdown in the same game? What? Come on. There are highlights out there of Hines, one juke move, making a guy miss so badly that while the guy is still in air, he's the only one on the screen, right? Like, you could take a picture of his juke, and while the defender is diving for him, you can see him and the defender, like, reaching out, trying to grab him, but he's the only one on the screen because Hines juked him so badly. Oh, my goodness. He's got a sweet spin move, too. Yes. He's that wide receiver. I could see him playing slot receiver once in a while. I could see him playing running back, out of the backfield, running back screens, all sorts of stuff. I love me some Nyheim Hines. I think he's going to be a primary return man. He could probably get a couple more touchdowns returning that football this season. I don't care what you say. Special teams are important, especially if you could get 7 points off special teams. That just makes the offense that much easier, right? Come on. Nothing fires up a team more than a punt return or a kickoff return for a touchdown. Nothing. Even if the defense just got off the field because you just forced them to punt, Nyheim Hines takes that punt and returns it back for a touchdown. That defense is so hyped getting back on the field. They have more energy coming back on that field after a punt return than what they had when they started the last drive series. And they just got off the field from that. So absolutely, Nyheim Hines is a game changer when it comes to special teams. And like I said, third and long. He'll be great. James Swain, thanks. I agree with you. Full-time punt returner. I think him and Campbell should be the 2 guys deep on kickoff returns. That's my opinion. That's what I saw last season when I was at the training camp. I seen both of them doing that. Believe it or not, Hines was having a lot of issues catching punts. And they fall right through his hands or bounce off his hands or something like that. He was having issues fielding them. But he finally worked on it and got it. And once he got that locked down, you've seen what he could do with it. It's about making sure the ball is in his hands. And that's all you need. So that's my thought on Hines. We only got 2 guys left to talk about on this offense. 2. And they, in my opinion, are the stars. They're going to be the stars of the Indianapolis Colts this year. the 1-2 punch, guys. The 1-1 punch, as Frank Reich called it, right? The 1-1 punch. First off, I want to squash something real fast. Jonathan Taylor is not going to get a 3-1 or 4-1 carry versus Marlon Mack this season. I love Jonathan Taylor. Go look at my film room. You could see it. I love Jonathan Taylor. The kid is guaranteed to run between the tackles. He never takes it outside, ever. He runs between the tackles. He'll hit that hole whether it's there or not. Generally, it's going to be there for the Colts, right? Because, I mean, we got a powerful run-blocking offensive line. But he runs with so much power that an arm tackle ain't taking him down. He reminds me of Rice. Do you remember Rice from the Ravens? There's been a lot of talk of Saquon Barkley. There's been a lot of talk of Adrian Peterson. This kid reminds me of Rice. Take off speed and the ability to run through a tackle. That's what Rice was, right? Only Rice had issues off the field. That's why his career was cut short. He has breakaway speed. He has a high step. If he knows that you're going for his feet, he has a high step that is just, his stride with his high step is so beautiful. It's almost impossible to trip him up. The issue I have with Jonathan Taylor, 2 issues. 1, if the offensive line is clogged, he will go through that same spot, hit it, and try to push the guard instead. Even if it's wide open outside the tackle, he will not take it. He will not cut that ball out like Marlon Mack would do, you know? He will not take that outside the tackles and redirect himself. He will push the offensive line and try to squeeze through even the tiniest hole. Very similar to how Frank Gore used to run. That's one thing I don't like. I think that he's got good vision. He just don't take it that way for some reason. I think he has the mindset of beat the defense down and make them beg for mercy. And I can't argue with that mindset. I mean, when a guy has that kind of mindset, it reminds you of like a Quenton Nelson running the football who's got 4.4 speed. You know, I mean, that's kind of what he reminds you of, right? And that's how he runs, and I can't fault him for that. The other thing I have an issue with is 18 fumbles in 3 years at Wisconsin. Now remember I talked about Jordan Wilkins, how his numbers in carries was cut instantaneously, and he was averaging 6 yards a carry. But his carries cut instantaneously, and he's only getting 50 attempts a season because of 2 fumbles. Jonathan Taylor averaged 6 fumbles a season in college. 6 fumbles a season, an average. Now, I think Tom Rathman is going to help a lot in that area. Tom Rathman's 2 biggest things that he focuses on: ball control and pass pro, right? So Jonathan's going to have a lot of work learning, holding on to that football, keeping that baby high and tight at all times, and learning how to protect Rivers in blitzes and stuff. I don't think, even though Taylor is such a fantastic running back, I think Marlon Mack will be your lead back starting this year off. I think he will be. I could see Taylor getting more carries as the season gets on. I think the first 4 games, you're going to see the 3-to-1 carry ratio in Mack's favor rather than Jonathan Taylor. Just for one, the fear factor of fumbles, right? And the fact, Mack has proven, Jonathan Taylor has yet to prove himself. I think if Taylor could prove that he could hold on to that football and do well in pass pro, his carry percentage will grow and grow and grow as the season moves on. What I want to see starting week 1 is at least 1/3 of every running play being a 2 running back formation, whether it be pro formation, T formation, offset I formation, something like that. All right. I want to see Mack and Taylor on the field both at the same stinking time. Because what I just said, what Jonathan Taylor does so well, but what he doesn't do well is what Mack does well, right? Marlon Mack takes the ball to the outside edge as good as anyone in the NFL. That's where the majority, as Brian just got done saying, that's where a lot of his big runs, he'll take that bad boy to the outside if the hole ain't there, right? That's what Mack does well. What Jonathan Taylor doesn't do well, Mack does well. Very well. It's what he excels at. So imagine having Mack and Taylor both on the field in your pro formation, your T formation, your I, your offset I, just your two running back formations. 2 running backs, a tight end, 2 wide receivers. One of those wide receivers being Zach Pascal, one of those wide receivers being Michael Pittman Jr., then you got Jack Doyle. Man, that is a running formation like nobody's business, right? Now, what does the defense do? In that situation, what does the defense do? This is a quarterback option. Does he hand the football off to Jonathan Taylor up the middle? Because if it's Taylor up the middle, that defense better have 7 people on the line of scrimmage ready to stop him. Because otherwise, he's breaking tackles and busting a big one. You've seen it over and over and over on college tape. That's the fear of Jonathan Taylor. If they crowd the inside, Rivers holds on to the football and does a pitch to Marlon Mack as he's sweeping towards the out. Having strong side, where you got Jack Doyle sealing off the edge, and either Zach Pascal or Michael Pittman Jr. Blocking off the corner. That's scary as well, right? That defense will constantly have to pick its poison. What if they bring a safety up to fill the outside edge? To worry about both Mack and Taylor, kind of spread coverage here on the run. Well, that just opened up the passing game, right? That means your wide receivers are set, because there ain't a lot of teams out there that have deep enough at corners to be able to cover one-on-one without safety help over the top. Rivers will have a field day throwing over a front 7 like that. A field day. I think Marlon Mack still has his 1,000 yards on the season. I think he just barely breaks 1,000 yards. Maybe like 1,050 or something, right? I think he'll get 5 yards a carry. I honestly do. Because Phillip Rivers teams aren't going to be, they're going to want to crowd that line, but they can't crowd the line like they did last year. They weren't afraid of the passing game against the Colts last year. And Marlon Mack still had about 1,100 yards and 4.5 yards a carry. And nobody was afraid of the passing game of the Colts last year. They were crowding that line and having 7-8 people, at the line of scrimmage every stinking play, and still Mack ended up doing that. Now imagine having a good passing game to go with it. They can't crowd that line. And if they can't crowd that line, you got Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack back there. This is just scary. Colts end up with a minimum 2,300 yards rushing on the ground. Yeah, you heard me. As a team, 2,300 yards rushing on the ground. I think Mack breaks 1,000. I think Taylor will get about 700. Maybe 800. That's 1,800 yards right there. Right there. That's nasty. Now, I just got done saying that Jordan Wilkins is going to get his carries. He's going to get 300 or so, right? Good Lord. If a football team runs for 2,000 or more yards on the ground, they are a dominant run game. Period. And that's what the Colts are going to be next year. They are going to be very effective all the way around. Thing is, I think Mack will probably end up his average kinda, only not as often. Brock Glazer asked a good question. Do you think they're going to use Hines like Eckler was in the Chargers with Phillip Rivers? And kinda, but not really. Austin Eckler was used a lot. Not just on third downs. All right, he was their first down, second down, third down guy. Hines ain't going to be a first and second down guy. Hines is going to be your third and long guy. Hines also is going to be that punt returner. He's going to be out there on special teams a lot. As I said earlier. He ain't going to run the football near as much as what Austin Eckler did last year. Because, I mean, when you got talents of Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor, you don't feed the ball to somebody who averages less than 3.5 yards a carry. And that's all Nyheim Hines averages when he runs the football. Now, he's absolutely fantastic catching it out of the backfield or when he's split wide, whether he's, in the slot or out wide. He's a great receiving running back. Like I said, I think he'll be great on third down and 4 or longer. If it's third down and 4 or longer, you're going to see Hines almost every stinking time. There's 14 people here, and I've only got 7 likes, man. What's up with that, guys? Come on. Hit my likes up for me. Also, please, share this to your social media. Help me out. Help a guy out, man. I don't have a lot of people. I don't have the exposure I'd love to have, and you guys are the reason why I'm here. So help me continue bringing content to you guys and talking and interacting with you. And I love the fact you guys are in this chat with me so much. Really appreciate that. I love having you guys here. Mitchie Sports, I want to thank you for joining on Sportscaster as well. Sorry. What playoff position are the Colts going to be in, he asks. My phone alarm is going off. They're going to win the AFC South and be they're going to have the 3rd seed. That's right. They're going to be right behind Kansas City and Baltimore, and they will have a better record than New England or Buffalo. I have the Colts. I've already did a stream. Sorry, I had to turn off that alarm. I already did a stream where I did the first half of this season prediction-wise. And after week 9, which is 8 weeks because they have a week 6 bye week again. Stupid NFL schedulers. I have them being 7-1 after the Ravens game. Yes, I agree. Thanks for saying everyone's safe. He hopes for a good season. It's an exciting team, and we must have football or we will all be sad, and that is true. We'll all be sad. I'm not going to say Ravens or Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are a good team offensively, and the fact that they were able to hold on to Jones is that was a huge deal for the Chiefs, because if they weren't able to keep Chris Jones, that was going to be scary, because he's the reason why their team is able to stay in. They're built a lot like the old Peyton Manning Colts, where they had just a great offense and they pass the rusher. They get a lead, they pass the rusher on defense, and that's what keeps them winning games. And without Chris Jones, they weren't going to have that. So them signing Jones was a smart move. Ravens have a better run game. Ravens have a better defense than the Chiefs. But the Ravens played the AFC South. And like the Chiefs last year, the Chiefs played the AFC South, and they had 4 losses, and 3 of those losses came to AFC South opponents. The Titans, the Texans, and the Colts. All those 3 teams beat Kansas City last year. It's going to be interesting to see how the Ravens fare against those 3 teams from the AFC South. Because I honestly think the Texans are going to be better this year than what they were last year, even without DeAndre Hopkins. Only because I'm not saying they're better without DeAndre Hopkins. I'm saying they're better currently with the team that they have than what they were last year. I think having Cooks, Fuller, I don't think Kikikuchi's on the team no more, but Randall Cobb and Kenny Stills, those 4 receivers, he's got a lot of good receivers to throw between. Watson is not just going to have to sit there and focus on DeAndre Hopkins snap after snap after snap. He's going to have to learn to upgrade himself and become a better quarterback and go through his progressions and find that open receiver. And with those 4 being good receivers, I think that he will have an open receiver almost every time. That offense is going to be tough to stop, especially with David Johnson and Johnson. I can't remember the other Johnson's first name. Yeah, I'm a little biased to Brock Glaser. I think they'll be a top 5 team. I think the Colts can have a top 5 offense and a top 8 defense this year. I haven't talked about the defense yet so much. And I'm a defensive guy. All right, I love defense more than I like offense. But I still do film work on all of it because I got to. I mean, that's my job, right? That's what I do. Oh, no. When you say, do you think they are better than the Cowboys? Are you saying the Texans? Oh, the Colts? That's a tough question, man. Cowboys are a good team. And I think their smartest move that they could have done, obviously getting CeeDee Lamb to get help with Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper. Brilliant move. Having Mike McCarthy was absolutely a steal because he's a quarterback's coach. I'm not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. All right, I don't think Dak Prescott's worth the money he's asking for right now. But the Cowboys will win their division. They're better than the Eagles. I'll just say that. I think Mike McCarthy is that kind of coach that he'll win he'll win against teams that are playoff teams. There's too much talent on the Cowboys. Just like there's too much talent on the Indianapolis Colts, right? I think a lot of Dallas's problem was that Dak Prescott, he didn't have a good coach to coach him up. All right, Mike McCarthy's a good coach, a good quarterback's coach. Go ask Aaron Rodgers. Aaron got McCarthy thrown out, but he loved him early on in his career, right? I mean, that's just all there is to it. I think the Cowboys I think the Cowboys will probably win 10 games. Excuse me. Well, guys, I've been live for like a while. I don't know what the time is here, but I've been on here for quite some time now. And I am getting really tired. My throat hurts really bad. It's been like an hour and 15 minutes at least. So I want to thank everyone that has joined me on Sportscaster. I want to thank everyone that's joined me on YouTube. This was a good stream, man. You guys were awesome. You guys were awesome. I love the fact that you guys came in and chatted with me, gave some comments, asked questions, both on Sportscaster and on YouTube. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified next time I go live, which will at least be next Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. We talked about the Indianapolis Colts offense and what my predictions for them will be. And until next time, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.